Charlotte.
Never been to Asheville?
No.
That's like
Been to Nashville.
Huh?
Been to Nashville.
Yeah, sure. Asheville, though, I would think like that would be a market that would be all about lights.
What makes, is it because it's like university crowd or?
You know what? I'm trying to think of, you play Ann Arbor.
We played there a long time ago, only in 2008, I think.
It's a very cultured market. Like,
Okay.
I mean, it's a lot of like, just musical people.
Into like the new stuff.
Moog. I think it was Moog. Is
from there?
Yeah, that's where he was
Really?
from, and they got a whole like the
crazy.
Moog factory. And,
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
So they like the synths.
Yes, exactly.
That is great.
Anyway,
Asheville. I don't know he's from there.
it's something to experience, even if you don't play there sometime.
Yeah. All right, right on. I like North Carolina was cool. Except I got bit by ants there, and I'm still suffering, and that was a while ago.
Bit like red ants.
We were walking through the graveyard, so they might be some kind of cemetery ants. But I looked down, and there was one latched on between my fingers, just biting me over and over. I couldn't get it off. And finally, I got off and was like, okay, I kept walking. And then there was another one latched on to here. And then they started to swell up. And then like a week later, there was still, like, you can still see a wound.
That makes tickling a gnarly synth difficult.
I know. I couldn't tickle it as well as usual.
Okay, so really, before we got started, I thought, maybe it would be cool to just give you a minute to vent.
About ants.
Well, ants, anything. You're a new mom.
Yes.
You got a new album.
Yep.
You're on tour. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's kind of been
a lot happened since we last talked.
And I don't know if you get the opportunity to just vent.
To just go?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This is wherever you want to start.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, I don't know, just looking back, like we were talking about the last time I came in here, that is 5-6 years ago. And in that time, so much has happened. But we're still here. We're still doing the same thing, which is good. I think it's really good. Released 2 records since then. Maybe even 3. Did I come in before I put out the listening?
It was, yeah.
Or no, I think maybe it was right around the time. I think it was that fall or something. Anyway, even if...
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of the timing.
Whatever. Anyways, it's crazy to think of the journey that I've been on.
It was before it. It was before.
Was this before, was it?
Because Ice is on the listening, right?
Yes.
Because
But it's also on the EP.
Oh.
The first EP.
You're going to mess me up now. Because I was going to say, I remembered you doing that song the first time, and then I remembered hearing it later on the album. So maybe it was a different song.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it came out on the EP and on the listening.
I think it was. I think
like
I think when you were here, it was pre the listening.
Crazy. So 3 records ago, 1 child ago, a marriage ago. I don't know. Craziness. And I just feel really lucky to be able to do this. Leading up to this record. Okay, increasingly so. Don't let me vent. That's just crazy. Now I'm just going to talk about everything. But increasingly so, each time you make a record, it's harder. They think that it gets easier or something, but it doesn't. Like, it just, you think about all the expectations that are of you a little bit more each time, and you have maybe a bit bigger of a fan base to impress each time, and you have yourself to exceed each time. And I definitely faced that dealing with Siberia, the second record. And now with Little Machines, that gap got even longer, and I was having a really long bout of writer's block, and it took a lot to get through that. But what an emotional journey it was, and in that I kind of rediscovered all the things that I love about what I do. And in turn came all the way back to the beginning when I first started doing music and what I loved about it and how much I loved it. And I realized, like, you can't do something if it makes you upset, or if it makes you stressed, or if you think about too many.
I'm gonna write a song.
No, well, no. I actually tried writing specific songs about motherhood and that kind of thing. It was the cheesiest songs I've ever written. So, I never write songs about specific things.
But did you feel pressure to write songs about motherhood? Because people feel like you should be feeling all these emotions.
Totally. That's it. Like, it's the number one question in interviews is, how has motherhood affected your songwriting?
Right.
Like, well, it's more affects your outlook, and that was a big part of me rediscovering how much I love about what I do, which was the ultimate way I overcame that year where I just felt uninspired. And just I came back full circle to this idea that you have to do something because you love it, and if you don't do it. Move on to the next thing.
And Up We Go, is that really a like self-reflection?
That was the most legit song in terms of what it was written about. I wrote that song when I was kind of in the middle of it and was really uninspired. And the thing is, here's the thing that I learned about writer's block or whatever you want to call it. It's not a lack of talent, because talent never leaves you. It's a lack of vision to see and pull the good ideas out of the massive ideas. And that was the thing. I was writing and writing and writing, and I just couldn't tell which ones were good and which ones weren't. In the end, I wrote 43 songs for Little Machines, and there was only 11 on the album. Up We Go being one of them. So I think in the moment, it's hard to really see what's good, and Up We Go was an example of that. We wrote that one, and I was in the middle of this sort of frustrated period, and it was kind of like me writing that song to myself to remind myself that's the truth. From here, it's only up, right? Please tell me that it gets better from here, because I'm really frustrated. And I took it home. We wrote when I say we, it was myself and Togs, who I've been writing with for a long time, and I took it home, and we had like the skeleton of a song, the idea and some of the chords written. And I sat on that song carving out lyrics for like a couple months. And my mantra always has been, if a song takes longer than a few days or something, it's kind of lost its
Forced.
spark. Yeah, it's a little forced after that. So anyways, I was carving that one out for a couple months and got back in the studio with him a couple months later, and we're like, all right, well, here it is. Let me sing it. I sang it in, and we kind of finished it up a little bit and moved on to the next thing. And it was sort of less than exciting, was not exactly what we felt was there at the beginning. I went back to the hotel that night, and he's based in sort of Niagara Falls area, so I always get like a little, it's like wintertime off season, you get a little hotel by the frozen falls, and it's pretty cool. And set up my recording gear outside the hot tub and some wine. When I posted that on Instagram, everyone said it was dangerous. You shouldn't put your recording gear next to the tub. Yeah.
I actually think it's comfortable.
Yeah, I quite love this. I'm standing in there with some wine and working on the next song, and I kept going back to Up We Go. and something in me was just like, keep, go back to that. And I went back to it, and immediately when I played it, I got the verse that you hear now, and it was completely different before. And I remember standing up in the tub and singing it and feeling it. It was great. Might have been partly wine as well, but and the vibes of the hot tub, but it was way better. And suddenly it was like reinvigorated with inspiration again, and went back into the studio the next day with Togs and said, hey man, sorry, I'm going to change this entire song, but this is better. And he was like, oh, damn it, that's better. And we finished it. I just reworked the verses a little bit lyrically, because to fit this new melody that came, sent it out, and it was like, wow, that's the first single. And so that from that moment on, I suddenly had a bit of vision back for what I was trying to do. So over the course of 2 months, that song actually did what it's about for me. And
it reinvigorated you.
Yeah, it did.
It was like there was like a moment with that song, the reinvention of that song that kind of set the pace.
Totally. I think that was it. From there on, I had a bit more direction in terms of what I wanted to do, and it just writer's block never lasts forever, and you just, when it comes back, and you look back and you can pick all the good things out of it.
So did you set out to do something maybe from that point on with this album consciously different than you've done?
No, the funny thing is that was the goal with Siberia, because I think it was almost a rebellion against the glittery, perfect sounding music on the first album, which I loved, but I knew there were more facets to what I was capable of. Because here's the thing, and I'll vent a little bit about this.
Go on.
People underestimate a female pop singer and automatically assume that everything's done for them and everything's written for them, everything's played for them, and that they're just a singer. And that was what people got from, if you weren't directly my fan, that's what people got from the first album, because it's pop. I love pop. But I'm a musician, and I write and I produce, and people assume that if you write and you produce and whatever, you're gonna make something like indie rock or something that makes it known that you're like this legit writer or something.
Right.
But in reality, I like making pop, and so then it gets piled in with a lot of the other female pop singers who just sing and get the songs written for them. It's like, must be nice to have all your songs written for you, but I don't do that. And so with Siberia, I wanted to show a different side of it, and kind of step away from that thing that people kind of started to think about me. And that was what Siberia became about, like gritty sounds, like let's make this a little bit ugly, because that's some realities of songwriting and some realities of the sounds that I'm interested in. And with Little Machines, I kind of just wanted to make a good pop album again. And I had less to prove, I think, to myself. I just wanted to be happy with where I was. So I set out to just create all these really great songs and then figure out the sonics later, you know, what it was all going to sound like later. And in turn, we ended up making more of a traditional album. Like usually in the past, we do a bunch of demos and we get the songs together and just sort of gussy up the demos, and that's the album. But with this one, you know, we narrowed it down to the songs we liked. Took 2 months in the studio, brought the boys in to play on it, and it was this complete project and this cohesive piece. So it was more about just writing songs that people could remember and sing along to. And it's
Up We Go is a pop song.
It is full-on pop song. All the songs are very pop songs.
But there's like arts. Like I was listening to it. The reason I asked is because, like, there were songs that I felt felt like it was a piece of art. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Like it was that. Like maybe that's what you were trying to do. You were just saying, forget everything else.
Yeah.
I just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah, I wanted to do what I do best, and I love melody, and I love wordsmithing, fitting words into a sentence where they flow really well. There's something really fun about that. And that's what I focused on. And it was so much fun.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So it's an exciting time.
It is.
Right?
It is. I'm touring with my baby girl.
Is she on?
She's on
the road
with me.
with
She
you?
comes with me everywhere. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, she's turned 1 and falls asleep 3 songs in.
Already 1?
I know. Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
I know.
It is weird because,
weird.
I mean, you know, any fan that follows along and knows that you had a baby, but I guess it's
it feels
just
like it just happened.
But it's just like with any other person. Like I know people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, your kid is already a year old.
I know. It flies by. It really does. And in a year, I'm gonna have to start paying for her flights. That is a big one.
So we're getting all the touring we can do.
Yeah, let's do all the touring now.
Yeah.
No, I think we're taking a step at a time, but I'll take her everywhere as long as I can. It's so nice having family out with me. I think the hardest thing about tour is missing the loved ones in your life. And when, for the most part, they're right beside you, everything is a little bit easier, you know.
That's the dream right there.
It's the dream, for sure.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
So, any secrets that you want to share? Anything upcoming?
Secrets. Well, we are actually, and I get asked about this a lot. Sorry, I'm hitting Brody with my knee. Playing
He
kneesies.
deserves it.
People are always asking about acoustic versions of things. I did an acoustic version of Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
I did an acoustic EP after the listening. When's Acoustic Little Machines coming out? Where we are working on something like that, but we want to do something a little different. So I have some brainchilds rolling around in my head, thinking about a way we can do this interestingly, and it will involve probably something Johnny Cash-esque.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but full band, but stripped down. We're gonna do something acoustic for it, but it's not gonna be like the traditional just me and guitar. It's gonna be cool.
Who's your like inspiration musically?
Oh,
because Johnny Cash, you say that, and maybe it's because I've heard acoustic stuff from you. Maybe it's because I've seen you play acoustic, but it doesn't seem that far fetched, you know. I mean, I could see you being a fan of Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash is amazing, and what I haven't tapped into about the inspiration I get from Johnny Cash is the low vocal, and I'm loving that side of my voice a little bit more these days. Maybe I'm getting older and I like my low voice more. But huge inspiration, Joni Mitchell, songstress, so much power with just an acoustic guitar. Wordsmith, another one of those, and on this record, Patti Smith was a big one. During the time that I wasn't really inspired by any music or wasn't inspired by my own music, I listened to her and read about her and read about her life and read some of her poetry books. I read Just Kids and Wool Gathering and read about how she used to do poetry readings in Brooklyn and New York and would throw chairs and get so into it. And like the Ramones would go see her and they loved her, and she had so much passion for what she did. And I thought, that is the power of words. She's just standing there saying things. And the way she puts things together is awesome. So I ended up getting into her through her poetry first. And then obviously listen to her whole discography, and she's just awesome. So she was a big inspiration for sure.
What'd you do in the off time?
Painted, listened to whole albums from front to back. I don't think people do that enough at all.
I mean, is that even an option anymore?
No, it's not even. I know. The only time to do that is in the car if you're doing a long trip, or if you set out to listen to an album from front to back. So I'd walk, listen to a Neil Young record, or do a painting and listen to all the Sounds records. I think they have like 4 records or 5 records out. Listen to all those records. So painting and listening to music became a big thing. And then doing poetry. And I thought, okay, I know that lyrics are such a big part of my creativity, and I just don't know what I want to say right now. So I'm just going to verbal diarrhea. And just every night I would just write the things that came out of my head, and it was like free form. That's the beauty of poetry. It doesn't have to really rhyme. So some of those poems are really all over the place, and some of them are really depressing. But out of those poems came Portal. The first track on Little Machines is just a poem that I pulled out of that book, and I looked at it later and said, okay, there's something here. You know.
But art has been a thing for you for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, because my introduction to you was February Air, and then I went online. I went to MySpace or something.
Okay, cool.
And I saw all the cartoon stuff, the comic stuff.
Yeah, that's mostly what my art looks like, is really simple comic style stuff. But there's power in that too, and I think I liken it to a pop song. I mean, there's so much that can happen in the black and white lines of a pop song. Like, it's very much the same structure all the time, but each one is so different, and you can exercise so much creativity even within like a very strict format. And same within comics. I mean, you can have a simple line drawing, but there's still so much power that can be expressed in the face of a superhero or the face of a crying girl or something, you know, like.
And laser beams.
And so much that can be involved with laser beams. So, yeah, I love that about it. You don't have to have all the baubles to make it something powerful.
All right. Cool. I'm excited to have you here.
It's good to be back.
It's been a long time.
I know.
You gonna play?
Yes, we're gonna play.
Let's do it.
All right.
Lights.
All right. This is Lights, and this is acoustic. Up we go. Here, in a familiar place, we got our heads down, and then we pretend it's 'cause the night is dark and running out of space for us to run around. But it's a dead end down my knees, tired, and it's been a long time of this. Something's got to give. Everyone here is ready to go. It's been a hard year with nothing to show. From down this road, it's on we go, on we go. Everyone here is ready to go. It's been a hard year, and I only know from down this low. It's on up we go, up we go. Ooh, ooh. Let's get on another flight. Maybe set out to sea. Kick it up and shake off this started. 'Cause that is harder to come by than it is to breathe. When you gotta make or break for it. 'Cause it's been a long time of this. Something's got to give. Everyone here is ready to go. It's been a hard year with nothing to show. From down this road, it's on we go, on we go. Everyone here is ready to go. It's been a hard year, and I only know from down this low. It's only up we go, up we go. Nothing gives easy, easy gives nothing. I'm just trying to keep income coming. Dawn is bound to break when the night is done. Always darker day before brighter ones. Everyone here is ready to go. It's been a hard year with nothing to show. From down this road, it's only on we go, on we go. to go. It's been a hard year, and I only know from down this low. It's only up we go, up we go.
Okay, I got some more questions. What's the hardest song from the new album to sing?
Up We Go.
It is Up We Go.
For sure, Up We Go. Yeah. That, like, the acoustic version is 3 steps down from the album version. Yeah, definitely hard.
Nice
and
work.
It sucks that they're always these singles. It's the hard ones to sing.
Well, hey, you got to work a little bit, I guess.
I know.
Favorite song?
It varies. I mean, I like. You know what's funny is the song. There's a song called "Muscle Memory" on the record, and when I first wrote that one, I wrote that with Drew Pearson, who ended up producing the album, and I hated it at first. I remember I was kind of embarrassed to show, like, you know, the people, you know, like my A&R and these guys. They walked into the studio. I was like, oh, here you go. I kind of covered my face and played it. I don't know why, and everyone fell in love with it right away. And I thought they were kind of joking, like blowing smoke kind of thing. But my mom loved it. Everyone loved it. And I ended up trusting everybody and going, because I heard, you know, Cyndi Lauper didn't like True Colors. And that was a big song. Great song, though. She's crazy. And and I trusted them and went back to it. And now it's my favorite song. Now it's one of my favorite songs to sing and play that. Especially because when you start doing shows, the favorite songs kind of change around depending on how they come across live. And that's definitely one of them. But Up We Go is a blast to play live. Up We
Go is a jam. It's an anthem.
Total anthem.
Just, I mean, you know, it's an anthem for everybody, but for you too.
It means a lot. Every word of it means a lot.
But Same C and Muscle Memory. Those were the and I've actually seen people, you know, tweet about them. So I was curious.
That's cool.
So,
here's a little tidbit. Just shot a video for Same C. And it's cray cray, to say the least.
Looking forward to it. Your videos are generally cray cray.
They're a little cray cray.
Up we go. I mean, the elevator.
Yeah, that was correct. Brody can attest. He was in that video. That took a long time to get right. That was a one take.
The applause at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was a 14-hour day for a 2-minute and 56-second video.
But I thought I really, you know, the whole thing's cool. But I really liked that you left that part at the end.
The reveal.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way you know it's a one take.
Yeah.
You realize, oh my goodness, look at all the parts that are moving in this video.
Yeah, that's funny.
And that elevator isn't.
Is what?
And the elevator isn't moving.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay. You're online, obviously. Yes. What social media are you most active on?
Insta and Twitter.
Yeah.
Those are the two that I'm mostly on. And they're both just at Lights.
At Lights.
No, I used to be Lights Noise. Maybe when I was in here last time, I used to be Lights Noise on Twitter. But in those recent years, we've gotten Lights. And same with on Insta. I used to be Lightsy, but now Lights.
Lights.
I just killed the other people that had them. So.
Again, sometimes you got to work. Okay, so follow me at Josh Strickland.
Oh, I will.
On Twitter. Instagram is a little bit different, but anyway.
Yeah, or what do you want Insta?
Juke925.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, because my first radio job, I went by Jukebox Josh.
Oh, I like that.
All right.
He's looking around suspiciously.
All right, but Intersection.
Yeah.
Big show.
Yeah.
And the tour continues.
Well, this is the last show of this run, actually. Yeah. And then we're off to the Junos. Little Machines is up for a pop album of the year, so we're playing at the Junos. And
all
right. Happens. Yeah.
All right, but Intersection show tonight, what time?
Doors probably like at 7, and we're usually on at 9. And Ex-Ambassadors are on at 8, and they're awesome.
Oh.
So good.
That's a great bill.
Yeah, they're amazing.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
And your website is iamlights.com.
I Am Lights.
All right, very good. Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. I love you.
I love you.
I love you, Jukebox Josh.
Oh, my God. Yeah, let's go over here.